You are a hot mess, little one. Oh no. Oh no. Houston, we got a problem. No, don't you don't need to hiss at me. Why would you do that? Why you gotta be all... Why? Hmm? First time being groomed. She's getting a little defensive. We gotta get her to figure out that, yeah, this is not a bad thing, right? Beautiful, beautiful two little petite Persian princesses, but you know, their coat is really far gone. And my job is to figure out whether I can keep any of this coat or not, right? But this one is just not happy, very defensive. Stranger danger, right? Stranger danger. She's hissing already. God almighty. How can you be hissing already? You're just a kitten. You're just a kitten, little one. Dang. Really? Really? Mm-hmm. 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 Right. 2 full coat restoration service requests. They're both in a pretty bad way, she told me. Right? So this is the first step to try to maintain her 2 beautiful long hair Persian cats, right? So this is the first step. It's just to do the coat repair and then go from there. We do offer free maintenance services where the clients can take advantage of, oh, I don't know. They can come in for little mini tutorials on how to use grooming tools, or a little tutorial on how to cut their cat's nail, you know, just little things. But while they're here, we'll help to maintain and keep an eye on their coat in between grooming appointments, right? That was probably the original premise behind offering that, so that we could keep an eye on our long hair, full coated cat clients. These are like the poodles of the cat industry, cat world, right? Because if you leave a poodle coat too long and you don't have it groomed as often as you should, that poodle coat will just mat up, and then you're just gonna have to shave that poodle coat down, which is why it's important to maintain a regular schedule of grooming, because it is a time sensitive, their coat is a time sensitive breed, right? Just like a poodle. Just like a poodle. You're not gonna bite me, are you? It's just like I'm thinking about it. We have the Lay Pooch detangling spray on standby, which we're going to use to help break down that coat. We're gonna use a couple of power tools. Probably this really big comb here, and then a big brush by Lay Pooch. So these are power tools, which are going to get through that coat. Otherwise, you'd be nitpicking and driving that cat out of their freaking mind, right? She's so defensive already. Hi, hi. She's like, I'm not happy. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So these two are going to be a bit of a project, right? Get out all of that tear staining as best as I can. That's what I do. I wouldn't say that's something that a cat groomer is trained to do. That's what I do. Mm-hmm. So what did you learn to not trust humans? Hmm? When did that start? When I got neutered. Yeah, that's usually when the first crack happens in cats. When they learn to distrust humans is the neutering part, right? Hmm. Some vets are starting to cop on to that, and they're asking their clients to pre-treat their cats with GABA before they come in for the neutering, just to help with the whole trauma of it, right? Which you people don't think it's trauma. People, it's surgery, it's abandonment issues, it's pain, it's all of the above. It's probably what happened to Shuji, my cat, my Hemi. He had human trust issues as well. Wow. Okay. No, nail cutting. Interesting. That's just one big mat pelt right there. Let the spraying begin. Lay cooch detangling spray. Let's get that started. I don't know. I don't think she can handle. I don't even think she can handle all of this dematting. Uh, the way she's already acting. Owner lives 30 minutes away. Chances of the other Persian being her sister means that they may have the same temperament. A lot of cats share the same disposition. I've noticed a lot of siblings who come in, they both have identical temperaments or close temperaments, right? Who was that? Oh, hi. How are you? Let's see. Holy moly. Let's just see what happens. I'm already at 50%, sending her back home and having the owner pre-treat her with GABA. I don't know if this is, I don't know what's going to happen yet. Just see what happens. We're almost testing her temperament to see what she can tolerate and what she can't. And she still has all of her nails on her because she won't even let me do that. Oh my goodness. That's a no. Waka. Should we put you in the sound box? Alright, we're gonna use the sound box. Maybe we can at least get her ears, her nails done, right? Holy moly. You go in here. You go in here, alright? like her twin, right? You can tell they're like litter mates, right? One is named Angel, one is named Pancake. First sign of that's your first clue regarding your cat's stress levels, right? Gosh, she's gorgeous. Not as offensive as the other one. Thank God. Right, here we go. How you doing, little one? She's a bit better. This is very typical. Buying a beautiful, purebred Persian, and right around this age is when they all start to pelt up. It's a time-sensitive issue. So what you'll find a lot of times as a cat groomer is someone who's bought a beautiful purebred Persian, only to find out that the breeder never let the owner know, or kind of glossed over what the grooming needs would be. So what ends up happening is these cats reach this age, they're usually on the verge of fully pelting, and then they come in here for a full pelt removal. And that's normal for what goes on in the industry, right? You're a sweetheart. She's like, I know. I'm the good one. I'm the good sister. Mm-hmm. Alright. Alright. A lot of that mane is gone. Yep. I'm going to use this little pals tool. Might as well get the spray going with the lay pooch detangling spray. Get that going. I rely on that product to help with any kind of coat restoration of a cat. Yeah. Okay. Feels good. Alright, what we're going to try and do is break down the matting all around her mane. I'm going to use the little Pals mat breaker. They're about 12 bucks. Chewy's carries most all of those little Pal tools, right? Wow. See how easy that was? Easy peasy. See how easy this is? Yeah. Yipper. You just get under it, and then you just kind of rake underneath that mat a couple times, and voila. Clear. Right? Again, cat grooming should be easy for both the groomer, pet owner, or cat, right? And if it's not, you're doing it wrong. Period. Like forcing a square into a circle, right? Trying to force something. This one. Alright, this tool is called a piano comb by Groomer Supply House. One of my favorite combs, right? You can see why it's called a piano, right? Anyway, that comb is in the link in my bio, themainline.live. It's a really great comb. You're gonna need a maintenance comb for your cat. I don't know if this would be the one. And you're gonna need like a face comb when you're maintaining your Persian cat. Face comb, essential. And any kind of like white tooth comb. You could go with the just shedding combs, which is what this piano is, if you wanted to use that. as your daily maintenance grooming comb, you could do it that way if you wanted to. Alright, so her coat is just pulling out like cotton candy. So this is going to be, it's been no big deal. Like, look at the size of this one. Where did it go? There was one that was like that big and it just popped right out. So let's see if this happens with this one. All you want to do is try and get these to go underneath. Once you get it underneath, then you want it to rub up against these, right? So this is going to be fairly easy to restore this cat's coat because her coat is just pulling out like cotton candy with hardly any resistance at all. And she's okay with all of this, right? So far. So far, so good. The other one, not so much, right? We may need to reschedule her sister, the other one, the one that's in the sound box. Is there a chance that that sound will help neutralize her sister in the sound box? Yeah, there's a slight chance it could do that. But we're not going to try until after we get this one groomed. Now keep in mind, if you're going to use this tool, yes, it's going to cut into your cat's guard hair, right? But so will cutting the mat out, right? So what's the difference? Too much? She's like, that was too much. She's gonna backseat cat for me. I'm gonna rely on her to backseat cat for me to let me know what's going through her brain, right? Special request is armpit shave. This is a lot easier than I thought it would be. But it certainly helps when you have a cat. Are you Angel or Pinky? She's like, I'm Angel. I bet so. I bet you are. If I had to guess, you're Angel and your sister's Pinky. Alright, let's get her on this side. You all are being so awfully quiet. Hi, how are you? Alright, dripping with dreadlocks is what I call this, right? Dripping with dreadlocks. But that coat is just coming out like cotton candy. So it's a combination of several things. One is this product here, Lay Pooch Detangling Spray. The Lil Pals Dematter. Power tool. This is the softest Lay Pooch gold trim brush. You really aren't supposed to be using slicker brushes on your long hair, beautiful Persian show cat. But a power tool is going to get through that job a lot faster, with a lot more torque, and a lot less of irritating the cat, right? Waka 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 waka. You're a sweetheart. God, you're so cute. They look like twins, don't they? A little bit more of that magic spray. What do you think it was? Yes, this is a cat. A mongoose? I mean, what else could it be? I guess you can't see the head, right? Okay. Waka 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 waka. Waka 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 waka. She comes with a lot of warnings, but nothing like her sister. Right? Nothing like her sister. She's only like about 1/4 the temperament of her sister when it comes to getting irritated. Alright, everything went through. Oh my god, we did it. Alright, Mommy, if you're watching, this one's code saved. I'm shocked. Other one, there's a very high chance we're gonna have to reschedule Pancake. She's got some issues, emotional issues. She's gonna need a pre-treatment. There's no way she's gonna be able to handle that dematting. And then if I try to put her in a line cut, that's probably gonna make it even worse, right? Alright, so part of this sanitary clip is to go into the inner groin. So let's get her on the bed. Get a better angle. There. Get that tail out of the way. There, better angle. This is part of the standard sanitary clip for anyone who's a trained cat groomer. I've seen other groomers who are going to charge extra if you want your cat sanitary clip done. Everybody's out there kind of doing their own thing in the pet industry, right? When it comes to cats anyway, right? And that's done. It's not sad. We actually just saved her entire coat. Usually when a cat comes from a breeder right around this age, that cat is already fully pelted. If it's a Persian breeder, right? And the fact that it happened to both of her cats, to me, makes me think that this particular breeder may not have been so forthcoming to this owner regarding the grooming needs of her 2 Persian cats. Maybe, possibly. It's kind of 50-50 out there. Whether your breeder is going to explain to you how to prevent your cat from getting knotted up or not. Alright, we're there. Hallelujah. I'm so happy. So happy. Alright, you did it. Right this way. Right this way. Right this way. Right this way. She's like, what's going to happen now? Well, we're going to give you a bath test. Yeah. I'm going to turn that off. I'll put that sound back on for her sister after she's done with her bath. Because right now I don't want it on for this. Hi. Alright, so we have to start with the bath test before we can even start with the degreasing, the degreaser products, right? The last thing you want to do is put a degreaser all over your cat if you're not even sure whether you can even wash them, right? So let's just do a bath test first, which is going to be trying to just wash the 2 front legs, right? That's all we're going to do. And then depending on how she does with that, that'll help determine whether we go forward or not, right? Yipper! You did it. You did it. Sort of. Water's getting warm. Get the warm wash going. Get Daryl going. Get the Orvis on standby. Anyone know what the orifice is? Here, let me hold it up for you. If you have a cat with heavy, heavy oil and you have to go in and do a really, really deep clean, this, you get this on Amazon, 7.5 pounds, right? That was recommended to me by a cat groomer, cat breeder. The stuff's amazing. And I use that in combination with the degreasing shampoo. This is great for helping with washing and degreasing your cat, but it doesn't have a whole lot of lather to it. So the orifice and the FT are like my dynamic duo, especially with wanting to try to do a deep clean on a cat like with a coat like this, right? Yeah. Yipper. She looks like she's passing with flying colors, but it's just, we're not going to make a decision until we're done with both of her front paws, right? We have the happy hoodie on, just in case she got triggered by with any kind of sound sensitivity from the sprayer. A lot of cats have sound sensitivity with the sprayer, which is why it's so handy to have this on your cat before you even start the bath, right? You wonder why these cats freak out when you put them in a shower stall, close the door. Well, one, you've just now amplified all of the sounds by, what, 10? Yeah. Yeah. So it's just an overload of sounds and, being confined. It's enough to make any cat lose their mind. Okay. Wow, you're a bathing beauty. She's a bathing beauty. She's a bathing beauty. All right, wonderful. That's wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. We can check her off the list as already having low stress levels, and hopefully we can continue that. Now, do you understand when you hear the you have to start the cat when they're young? Do you know how many times I've heard that? I don't quite buy into that. Sorry. I've had cats who are 15 who come in, never had a bath in their life, and they turn into just a little water rat, just like little Angel, right? It's just more so to do with their temperament, right? If they were introduced, yeah, I suppose if Pancake had been introduced with more baths when she was younger, she may not be the way she is right now. Maybe. But they're still youngins. They're not even a year old yet, right? As far as I know, they're not even a year old yet. So they're still youngins. Alright, let's get that groomer scoop going. Go that way. Don't fall off. She's like, I'm gonna fall. No, you're not. There. Just get that a little closer. Note to self, make this closer. Alright. This is part of the full coat restoration package, is to go in and do a deep degreasing as well. Because we did use that oil from the Pooch to help untangle her coat. Yeah. Little baby. And then you want to try and work it down into the skin, right? I saw one groomer say you just want to put it on the surface because that's where the oil is. Millions of followers. No training in cat grooming. Yeah. Just put it on the surface because that's where the oil is. Okay. Alrighty then. Alrighty. How many people believe that? Should we take a poll? All right, yes is 1, 2 is no. 1 is yes, 2 is no. How many people think that the oil on a cat is just on the surface of their coat and it's not down deep, embedded down to the skin? Who wants to tell me? You know how I know that? I'll tell you how I know this answer. But I want at least 10 people. Right, we got 2, so it's a no-brainer, right? So now, now do you understand the problem, people? Very famous dog groomer, millions of followers, saying things to the public under the tutelage of instruction that are just completely wrong, right? Because she never went anywhere to receive any cat grooming training. She did for her dog grooming, not for her cat grooming, right? So what's going to happen is later on, the comments in the videos that she's making regarding cats is going to bite her in the ass when she knows better, if she ever does receive training. Yeah. She might receive training in the future. She might, I don't know why groomers decide, oh yeah, I don't need it, right? I don't know why they even, either the shoe drops that you need the training or it doesn't, right? It's the equivalent of saying, oh, I'm going to move to Russia. I can't wait. I'm going to do fine. You know why? Because I know French. Yeah. I'm sorry, what? Yeah, I know French, so I think I'm going to do well in Russia. Alrighty then. So, 2 separate languages. Cat grooming, dog grooming, 2 separate languages. Okay? 2 separate forms of training. 2 separate sets of knowledge, right? What applies for a dog may not necessarily apply for a cat. Right? This is Angel. She's acing her bath, acing her first grooming, right? Acing her bath, acing her first grooming. We're getting her to where she's being introduced properly, right? So she's on the pedals. That's the best way to introduce any cat. So you're not force submerging the cat in the water, right? Yeah, that person with that comment was forever banished. She will never be able to disrespect me or my salon again, right? Yeah, that's kind of how that works. Yeah. Wow, look at her. She's holding her head high. Just curious. She's like, this isn't so bad. What if her sister's watching? Yep, perfect. If we can get that sister watching, right? Because they always copy. Copycats. There's a reason why that word copycat is around, right? Because cats look and copy. So, hey, if we can just get her, no, we just need you looking. We just need you looking. She's like, I'm going to go take a nap. No, I just woke her up. Okay, you did it. You did it. You did it. Where was I? Oh yeah, what I was trying to say is someone with millions of followers trying to instruct the public with grooming educational videos, choosing cats as well as her dogs. But the difference is she's received training for her dog grooming. She hasn't for her cat grooming, right? So that was impressive. She's going to want to zip it. Because 5-10 years down the road, she's going to realize half of what she said regarding cat grooming was asinine, right? She's not there yet, right? She's not there yet. And what she was saying was just put the degreaser on the top of the coat because that's where all the oil is, right? We just made a poll. We just did a poll, and we had how many people respond to it? 1 was yes, 2 was no. Do you think the oil of the coat is just on the surface, or do you think it's embedded down to the skin? Well, if you saw what I saw, it would be a no-brainer. A lot of these cats, when they produce oil, it has almost like a orangey tinge to it, like a burnt brown brick color, right? And you're going to see where it is, and it's all the way down to the skin, right? Yeah. Yeah. Yipper. But when you groom 1 cat a week as opposed to 40 cats a week, you know, you're at a much slower rate of learning, right? So I'm assuming that's what she does, one cat a week, right? The rest are dogs. So the more you groom, the more you learn, right? So I'm 15 years and 15,000 cat grooms in, right? I know a little bit, just a little bit. She's like, this is nice. Now, does that very rigid rule of getting that cat groomed as fast as possible apply now at this point? When you have a sweet little Persian who's actually enjoying her bath? I want another poll. Push 1 for yes, or push 2 for no. Do you think it matters when you find a cat who actually enjoys their bath? Do you think it matters that you need to, because this is how it's trained to all trained cat groomers, that you have to get that cat in and out of the bath as fast as possible, right? Do you think it matters if the cat's enjoying themselves? Press 1 for yes, press 2 for no. Just curious. And then I'll tell you what my answer is in about a minute. Alright, what we're doing is rinsing out all of that groomer's good liquid degreaser, which is going to help to fully restore her coat. We're going to finish off this grooming with the Thick and Thicker protein treatment, right? Yeah, we're going to finish off with that to absolutely beautify and restore her coat, right? It's not a conditioner per se, it's a foaming protein treatment, which is designed to make the coat even fuller and fluffier. Part of the Thick and Thicker line by Chris Christensen. They have a shampoo, they have a conditioner, they have a spray, they have a gel. Oh my god, there's what, six products are part of their Thick and Thicker line? I forgot. I'm not sure. 4 for sure. 4 for sure. You did it. Did anyone answer that poll? Anyone at all? Okay. Alright, 1 for yes. Oh, so you're thinking even though the cat is fine and thoroughly enjoying, sort of, you still think it's important that the cat be in and out of the bath as fast as possible. Okay. See, I don't buy into that at all, because I don't think it matters. Once the cat is at a good place and they actually are enjoying what's happening, what does it matter? If you were enjoying yourself in a nice bubble bath, would you want to rush that? Turn it around. You're in a nice warm bubble bath, you're enjoying yourself, and then you got screaming kids, and you have to get in and out. You can only do it for 5 minutes. Wouldn't you rather want to stay in there longer? Wouldn't you want to just relax and enjoy your bubble bath? Yeah, I would. I would. Anyway, there's a lot of steps to the full coat restoration on a cat. So we're going through the steps, okay? And when all the steps are done, that's when the cat is done, right? Right. Capiche, capiche. Right. I don't know how that works. Alrighty then. Wham. Wham, 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 wham. Wham, 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 wham. Wham, 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 wham. She's glorious. She's going to be a beautiful beauty, baby beauty. Her sister, who was a demon, is over there sitting right behind me in the Caddyshack back, watching all of this. And I'm hoping that her sister figures out that there's nothing, this is fine. But I doubt that's going to happen because she's very touch reactive. So the minute I go and touch her and try and do anything with her, she's just going to react again. But she is just sitting over there watching right now. You can see everything that's happening. Right? Alright, so dynamic duo. F&T or Abyss. And that's going to get that really beautiful deep clean. These cats have never had a bath in their lives. And they're what, at 8 months? Something like that. Hello, hello, hello. You trying to get comfy? She's like, yeah. Oh, I almost slipped. Oh, I almost slipped. Oh, I almost slipped. Now, the one thing that the public is not aware of, well, 90% of the public isn't really aware of a whole lot of factoids regarding cat grooming. But one really important thing that you probably want to be aware of, one of the first things somebody will mention to you or talk to you about if you ever did join a cat club or go to a cat show, is part of grooming a cat while they're in the tub is to understand how a coat is supposed to feel on your fingertips. Your fingertips will tell you when that coat is clean and done, right? Yeah. Almost the same exact way that you can tell with your own hair when you are washing your own hair. You can tell how clean you're getting it. You can tell from your fingertips when all of it is rinsed out. You can tell after you put the conditioner in when all of it is taken out. You know when it's finally rinsed out clean. How? Because your fingertips, right? It's the same exact technique. So what you want to do is bring that to your cat when you're washing it, right? If you're serious about wanting to get your cat, your beautiful long hair cat, in a beautiful shampoo and blowout, if you're serious about it. If you're not serious about it, then don't even worry about it. What does it matter? Just grab a dollar bottle of Suave clarifying shampoo. You'll be fine. Go get a bottle of flea and tick shampoo that's safe for cats. It's going to be a natural degreasing shampoo. Yeah, you do it that way. Follow up with something like Suave. Doesn't matter. She is loving this. She's a bathing beauty, which is different from a cat who's just tolerating what's happening, right? No, she actually loves this. There's absolutely no resistance. Oh, what happened? What happened? Did I speak too soon? Did I speak too soon? All right. Wash, rinse, repeat. Right? Wash, rinse, repeat. Gosh, she's gorgeous. Alright, second shampoo. I have about 10 finishing shampoos. One of my favorites is this one. The Volume, which is part of the Chris Christensen Top Cat line, right? Yeah, the Volume is just really nice and very lightly scented. Yeah, so you don't have to worry. So I usually make a warm wash of it. If you want, you can then take some of it right from the bottle, because you've already done the warm wash. It's all diluted into the cup, and then work in that. You do it that way. Add a little hypo if you want. Unscented, right? And then what I'm looking for, I'm waiting for my fingers to tell me that she's ready, right? Just like you visually look in the oven to see whether your cake has risen, you're going to see visually whether it's done or not, right? If you can't see what you're baking, how are you going to know when it's ready? Right? Right? Yeah, you need to see what's in the oven. You usually can see visually whether it's done or not, right? Sometimes I could tell when something was done in the oven by smell, right? Why? Because once I started putting the cat on the pedestal, I could focus more on washing the cat instead of trying to keep the cat in the tub, right? Because they're just going to naturally want to balance. I learned this from a cat dad from Madrid who goes live. He goes live and washes and grooms his Persian cats for cat shows in his house, in his bathroom. And if you've ever seen, his name is Tony Kardashian. You'll remember him because he has almost the same exact name as the Kardashians, but it's Kardashian. What did I say his first name was? Tony. I think it's Tony. But anyway, what you'll see is him washing 3 Persians in one bathtub at the same time. All 3 Persians are being washed at the same time. You have got to see it to believe it, right? And then when you put a cat on a pedestal like this, what do? They just naturally balance. And his setup is to have one cat on, because he's using the whole bathtub. One cat is on the pedestal, while the other 2 are in something similar to this, but inverted with warm water. And they're just sitting in the warm water, floating, just chilling, right? Yeah, Tony Kardashian. I know he's on TikTok. And he's from Madrid. And that was the technique I learned from him. If I had a bigger tub, I would probably have, if I had siblings coming in, and they were a nice temperament like this kitty is, I could have one being washed on the pedestal and keep them together and have the other one chilling in the tub, in the water, right? I probably could do that the same way that Tony does it, but my tub just isn't big enough for that, right? Alright, we want a really good rinse, right? She's never been washed before. Her next bath will go so much faster because it's not going to be as deep cleaning as this one, right? Wash, rinse, repeat. No different from you. When you go into the shower, how many products are you using on your hair? Right? Stop with the hypocrisy, please. Thank you. Thank you. Chris Christensen is one of the top people in the industry. Chris Christensen would be the equivalent of, oh, I don't know, who would be one of the best in their field? Vidal Sassoon, I guess. So Vidal Sassoon was a pioneer in the hair industry, very famous, right? So Chris Christensen would be the equivalent in the pet industry of who Vidal Sassoon was in the human hair industry, right? Yeah. But yet you probably never even heard of Chris Christensen. But what's happening is someone is in the comment section saying there's too many products being used. Yeah, it's a process, people. Wash, rinse, repeat, right? To get the results that you are looking for, which is a beautiful Persian cat whose coat is fully restored after being fully degreased, right? It's a process, right? But feel free to grab for your bottle of Dawn dishwashing soap. Go right ahead. Okay. I don't give a shit. You do know what Dawn dishwashing soap would do to a coat of a cat, right? Just FYI. It will hollow it out. It will hollow it out, make it brittle, and it will lose its bounce and luster when you work. I can always tell when a cat comes into my salon. I can touch that coat and feel whether Dawn dishwashing soap was being used in that coat. Yeah. I can feel it. I can tell. Right? But feel free. You know best. You go ahead and do what you do, and I'm going to do what I do because I'm actually a professional in this trade, right? So you questioning my trade when you're not a cat groomer, you don't even know who Chris Christensen is. You don't even know what a Thick and Thicker the product is. You really don't know anything, but yet you're sitting on that. Bye. Just kicked you off of your throne there, buddy. Anyone else? Anyone else? 3-minute beauty treatment. I'll hold up the bottle. Thick and Thicker comes in a 64 ounce. You can use it a couple of different ways. This is the volume response foaming protein. You can either froth it and dilute it. You can put it in straight, or you can flip your pedestal over, rinse the cat completely, and add the Thick and Thicker into their final rinse water. After you've already rinsed them, then do a final rinse, submersive rinse with the Thick and Thicker in the rinse water. You can do it that way too. Okay? All right, that's about a 3-minute treatment. We're going to rinse it off now, and that is the end of the full coat restoration, which included the dematting and the armpit shaves. And then what we're going to do is teach and help the owner going forward on how to keep and maintain her cats in full coat, right? A lot of cat owners go into cat ownership blind, not understanding what it's going to take to maintain their cats, right? And the fact that this owner had 2 Persians at the 8-9 month mark, going into full pelt mode, says to me that the breeder was not exactly upfront. So she's learning the hard way. She's learning this way. That's how some cat owners learn, because the breeder purposely glossed over the grooming needs of the Persians, right? Because if you let the owner know how much firming is involved, you could lose a sale. You could lose a sale of a kitty, right? So they want it to be all joy and unicorns and rainbows, right? And I'm sure that's how the sale went with these 2 beautiful sisters. It was all just unicorns and rainbows until the cat reaches this age which is where most of them will start pelting for the first time. And then when it starts to turn, it usually happens quite quickly. And by the time the owner is able to do anything about it, the cat's already fully pelted, right? And that cat has to be shaved down, right? That's very common. Happens all the time. You did it. She's like, what? What did I do? If you're afraid that you're not rinsing that cat out as well as you could, just turn this upside, turn it around. Get your cat into the submersive part of it. What determines whether you can rinse your cat correctly or not is how much water pressure you're working with, right? Water pressure is everything when it comes to being able to get your cats properly groomed. How do I know that? Everything I talk about is what I learned because of what I know and what I experienced, right? So I used to go over to a Maine Coon cattery. They were coming to the salon, but they had so many cats, they would only come with 2 cats at a time to the salon, and I just thought, wouldn't it be easier if I came to you? We'd get more done, right? And so what I noticed was I was never able to get the cats as beautiful or as clean as I could in my salon. And the only difference was the water pressure. So we made a few changes. I brought a couple of big buckets with me, and we tweaked the water pressure, and then we were finally able to get that the same quality in their home as I can at my salon, right? And the only difference was the water pressure. So if you're unsure whether your cat is fully rinsed out or not, just do this, right? And do this after you've already rinsed your cat, right? So that would be like a final submersive rinse. Capiche, capiche. Capiche, capiche. Capiche, capiche. She's like, I did it. Yes, you did. We're kicking your sister out of the salon. She's like, you wouldn't. Yes, we are. We're gonna do it. I'm pretty sure she's not gonna let me do anything to her. Right? You did it. That is a bathing beauty. Mm-hmm. All right, and then you want to have 2 dry towels on standby. I have crispy towels, right? I do crispy towels. I don't do the fluffy towels. They really don't absorb very well, right? Mine are very crispy. Wham! We did it. Give me 1 second, and I'll be right with you. See, what's gonna happen now? We're gonna put you in the dryer. Soon. Yeah, we're gonna put you in the dryer. Didn't quite hear what you said. I hear a lot about floating a coat. Is that what you are doing right now? Yeah. Yeah, the coat float is what you do at the very end. You can do it with vinegar in the water, like a tablespoon of vinegar, or you can put it in a pitcher and pour it over the cat. You can do either or, right? If it's a short hair cat, I'm usually doing a pitcher. If it's a long hair cat, I'm usually doing a submersive float with the vinegar. You can also do treatments using that floating technique at the very end. So that Thick and Thicker by Chris Christensen, that's a really great treatment at the very end, right? We use that product, but we use it in a different way. We actually applied it as a diluted froth product and then added the actual concentrate straight into the coat, and we did it that way, and that's a 3-minute treatment. And that's usually something, the Thick and Thicker protein, that's usually something to lift and add volume and bounce. So it's usually used for, well, if you were getting your cat ready for a show, you would use it for the whole coat, right? That's what I'm going to do with the show cat that's coming in like 2 weeks. But or you could just use it for a touch-up. Like if you wanted the mane or the tail and you wanted to give it a beauty treatment, you could do it that way. Okay? Yeah, this cat just went right into being a bathing beauty. Her sister turned rebel without a cause, right? So the sister was watching her. I don't know if it changed the sister's mind, but remember what I was saying? We got to do 2 things at once at all times. So we're going to, just to keep that grooming moving along. The first grooming is going to take the longest since she's not been groomed for 9 months of her life, right? Then her next grooming will not take as long, right? But the first one, yeah, it might take a little bit longer. I'm going to turn this up. 2 things at once. Sometimes if you're good, you can do 3 things at once. So usually after about a minute, that towel is useless. So let's re-wrap in a nice fluffy dry towel, right? I usually use just 2. Now, usually around the drying time of every live, I'm going to show a juicy tidbit. Why don't I show the towel wrap, right? Or the burrito wrap. So this will be the juicy tidbit for this live. You take your towel, and I usually do the short end on my left. Leave a little bit of a hood, right? Short end. And then I'm going to reach for where the shoulder joint is. I got it, right? So now my hand is on the shoulder joint. Now I'm going to reach for the other shoulder joint. And I'm just going to, boop. Now she's on my forearm. See? She's on my forearm, right? And then what you're going to do is you're going to take your towel, get under that chin, but above the paws, and you're going to wrap that cat in a little burrito where she's nice and snug, and there's no way to escape. There's no way to go forward. So what happens? She's just been checkmated, right? What does she do? Nothing. A cat who's in checkmate is smart enough to know they can't go anywhere, so they don't even try. If you allow enough room, or if it's too loose, or if there's an opening in the front, they're gone. Turn that up. Too much. Alright, that was too much. Too much. So what are the 2 things that we're doing at once? We're at 3. Towel wrap on the body to absorb maximum moisture out of the coat. We're doing the face trim, and we're also drying the fur on the face, right? So right now we're up to 3 things. Okay? And then while the cat's head is wet, that's usually when I get my best face eye trim, is usually after the bath. That's usually when I can get it the best. That is a Aussie bevel bottle nose scissors, right? Is that right? Alright. Is that right? Is that right? Well, put it this way. If I had done those eyes before the bath, I would have had to have done them again after the bath. Just saying. I get my best cut after the bath. So I don't even do anything before the bath anymore. waka, 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 waka. Now what I can do, there's so many different ways to dry a cup. If you're, especially a long hair cup, if you were mindful of any knots forming in the bath, if you were mindful of that, and you didn't allow any of that to happen, then what you could do is a set it and forget it drying technique, which is a really great technique. Yeah, especially on a kitten. Alright, let's get the seatbelt on just in case she has a little bit of her rebel sister in her. They're both from the same breeder. They have to be. There's no way they're not. There's no way they're not. Okay, set it and forget it. That means we're just going to run a comb all the way through the coat. Grab the comb that goes through the coat easily. If it's not going through the coat easily, put it down and reach for a wider tooth comb. Right? This is just one of so many different ways. I guess it would depend on what's happening with your cat's coat after the bath. If your cat's coat still has tangles, this would not be the technique you're going to use anymore. You're going to get a hold of a dryer like a Salon dryer, and you're now going to blow out the coat right away. Right away. And you're going to use that dryer to help brush and comb out that coat, right? Because a dryer, a velocity dryer, is not just for drying your cat, it's also a grooming tool. And in cat grooming, it's used to separate out, loosen up the knots, and in some cases making the knots just simply disappear, all through the drying of that cat with the use of little utensils like this, right? And you see that happen all the time whenever you jump onto a cat grooming live. I study from about 20 different cat groomers from all around the world, right? You could say I'm a hybrid of, oh, I don't know, 1/3 of my knowledge comes from the National Cat Groomers Institute. 1/3 of it comes from Fear-Free Pets and incorporating techniques to fall into what Fear-Free Pets teaches, so that we're actually doing fear-free techniques, right? And that would be 2/3, right? 1/3 is the NCGI, and then you have fear-free and all of the different new techniques that you can do with cats to keep them at low stress levels, right? Including in some cases, they might need a pre-treatment from their owner. And then the other third would be coming from everybody else that I study from, right? So there's master cat groomers all around the world. And I study from, like, I don't know, about 20 of them. I usually study them on a different app called TikTok. I haven't explored what's on this app yet. Alright, if you do a set it and forget it, what that means is that you are going to now take advantage of the low and slow drying, but you're not going to allow any knots to dry into your cat's coat, right? That's the whole purpose of the set it and forget it. Get that comb all the way through the coat. You don't want to blast her. She's 8 months old. Not every kitten is going to be able to handle a velocity dryer, even with the happy hoodies on, right? Especially if they're under a year old, I'm usually going to bypass the velocity dryer. And I'm going to figure out all kinds of different ways to dry them, including the use of this UA as the final fluffer, right? That fluffer UA is only 1/10 the power of a Shilandi, but it'll get the job done, right? This only takes about 5 minutes, right? But that 5 minutes could save you an hour if you allow certain knots to just dry in your cat's coat. No, don't do that. Don't do that. And don't take that comb and run it through your cat's tail. You're going to start to thin it out. A lot of it is undercoat. So whenever you use a tool on your tail of your beautiful Persian cat, just make sure you're using something that's not going to thin it out or take all the undercoat out, right? There's definitely guard hair in there, but most of it is undercoat. You use the wrong tool, you're not going to be like that comb, which is going to pull out a lot of that undercoat. You're not going to have much of a tail left over time, right? All right, we did it. Now she gets to go in the box. I'm assuming she's going to be fine with it. This is the $700 option. Yeah, comes in handy when you are a cat groomer in a salon, because I use that box for other things too, like when someone comes through the door. But I'm going to show you a different option that does the same exact thing. That technique here in my salon cost me $25. And I'm going to show you right now the $25 option that does the same thing as that $700 option, right? We just need to give her about a minute to process this. She might be going in the $25 option if she doesn't do well in this option. I got a little window. The ones with the windows are great because you can put some cookies in there, you can feed them a chewer, you can give them a scratch on the head. Yeah, it can help to calm them. This one didn't necessarily, this cat link doesn't necessarily have a window, but I created one. I cut one of those off, right? So I could fit a chewer in my finger and be able to, you know. Yeah, so that one doesn't actually come with a window, but you can make one. All right, I think she's processed it. Usually takes about a minute. I'm usually going to make the decision whether that cat is coming out or not after about a minute. Alright, so this is a small little open crate here. Zoom that out. Right, little crate. Right, 2 doors, side door, front door. Right, smaller. The smaller, the better. For a juicy tidbit during the drying process when the cat is in that dryer box. So this is your juicy tidbit for this live. This is a bumper bed, right? For crates, right? They come in all kinds of beautiful colors. And it's a very beautiful, high quality with really good quilting on the back from a company called Pet Edge, which is open to the public. They're only like, to get one of these to fit this size or even your carrier, it would set you back like 12 bucks, right? Anything that a regular standard pillowcase will fit over is great. Fur tends to get embedded in rubber, so I always use a pillowcase, right? So if she had failed that drying technique, she would have gone in here instead, right? Get 2 doors if you have to. I think I got this on Facebook Market for 20 bucks, right? The next thing you're gonna do is set up a do-it-yourself stand dryer. Conair is great because they have a low frequency on their dryer. I get mine at Goodwill. These come from Goodwill for 5 bucks, right? You can always find a good old Conair at Goodwill, right? This is an electric contractor clamp light. Turn it upside down, and now you've got a nice little stand dryer. So you can now offer a low and slow drying of your cat in here instead. What is the difference between this and that? Well, for a lot of those dryers, the air is coming from underneath, so the cat is able to be dried underneath. But you can do that with this technique. I watch this all the time from a cat groomer. His name is Myrna, M-I-R-N-A. The cat just goes right up here. Believe it or not, the cats just learn how to stand on here and balance. I don't know how they don't get their legs caught. I don't know how. And then he just dries them this way. Takes the dryer like that. And now he's able to dry the cat from underneath. So, and his name is, he's one of the cat groomers that I studied. I think he's from somewhere, I know he speaks Malaysia, so, but I don't know exactly where he's at. I think it's the Philippines. I'm not positive. So that is your cheap alternative. And one more thing you might consider doing is going to Pet Edge and getting a hold of one of these. It's a dog product. Getting a hold of one of these crate beds, right? They come in all sizes and colors. Get one of these for your cat carrier. Size one of these bumper beds to your cat carrier. You want to know why? Let me see if I can demonstrate. Yeah, I'll be able to demonstrate. Give me 1 second. That drying option I usually utilize for about 15 minutes. 15 minutes in there, and then we do a final fluff out. Alright. Find the size of your cat carrier. Get a bumper bed for your cat carrier, right? Here's what happens. The cat is no longer sliding around, slipping around. He's bunkered in. Spray some foul away if you want. But when you get your cat to wherever you're going, whether it's your vet or your groomer, it's almost like those fear-free carriers with the drawer that folds out, which is a piece of crap and breaks so easily. Don't get those. You just make your own. This will set you back $12. The cat's going to be sitting on his bed, and as you pull the cat out, if the door is wide enough, the cat's going to come right out with this and just sit there. Now, that's a piece of home comfort. So you allow that cat to sit on there at the vet's office, because that's home. Those toe beans are so sensitive, right? Just like our feet, the soles of our feet are so sensitive. So whatever it is that the cat is touching, and this is from home and it smells from home, yeah. So it makes for really a lot more comfortable travel. And then when it comes time to take the cat out, you're bypassing the cat dump, or the cat getting all aggressive, or having to take apart the entire cat carrier. All of that just disappears, right? There you go. Mm-hmm. What a... There. Okay. Alright. What next? Well, this is Angel. It took her about a minute to process that. What she needed to do was find out whether that was going to be a threat or not. Once she realized she was not in harm's way, it took her about 60 seconds. Yeah. Right? And then we're going to take her out in a few minutes. I'm probably just going to take this to her, the UA. It's about 1/10 the force and power of the Shalandi dryer. This Shalandi dryer is about $80 on Amazon. Comes in pink or blue. That prototype is all over the internet for all kinds of prices. $200, $300, same exact dryer, right? You want to get the Shalandi. 80 bucks, right? If you have a long hair cat that you're looking to learn how to wash and blow out, get yourself the Shalandi dryer. This is not going to be powerful enough for you. If you need to use that dryer to help with a cat who's got matting in their coat, you need to use that dryer to help undo a lot of that matting, right? With the use of some of these attachments. Well, how are you going to allow that? How is that cat going to allow you to blast it with a velocity dryer? There's ways to do that. One is protect their hearing, right? Extra small, large, fold the large back, you got a triple protection. The second thing you probably might want to do that I'm going to do with her is start with an intermediate step dryer, something that she processes, that she feels safe with, for about a minute or two. Keep it running, turn on the Shalandi dryer, and then layer over top of this and transfer over to the Shalandi instead. And you shouldn't get any kind of a glitch or anything. There shouldn't be any reaction if you've done it correctly. And then once you've transferred over to the Shalandi dryer, you can just take that away. Turn it off and take that away. And now you're fluffing her out with the Shalandi, right? So some cats are going to need a baby step before you can go straight to the velocity dryer, right? And if you're going to buy a velocity dryer, make sure it has a variable speed. There are plenty of velocity dryers on the market that don't. Usually just flip a switch and it goes from 0 to mega blast. You know, the kind of mega blast that blows water off a truck. That kind of mega blast, right? Which apparently some groomers in this country are using for cat grooming. If you ever hear of a groomer using a velocity dryer on a cat that is not a variable speed and they don't have any ear protection, you need to call the police, because they need to be arrested. Period. In my humble opinion. I'll be right there. Hold on. Say what now? Is conditioner. Well, it depends on what part of the world you're in. In Malaysia, it's incorporated into the steps, right? You don't put it on straight. You actually use it as the a float technique. We were talking about that earlier. So they'll put it in the rinse water for a submersive float, coating float. A coat float technique. Hold on. Here in America, it's not taught. But what I had explained before and what I used on her, especially for a full coat restoration, if you're going to be stripping that cat and using a degreaser to help remove all of that heavy buildup and oil and to help break down the matting, you want to restore that coat at the very end. So after the degreasing treatment, and you do that wash, rinse, repeat with a degreasing shampoo and then a final finishing shampoo, at the very end, you're going to use, it's not a conditioner per se, but what it's going to do is it's going to restore, store, and replenish that coat and make it light and fluffy. The Thick and Thicker Protein Treatment by Chris Christensen. And you can either put it in straight for 3 minutes, you can make a wash of it and dilute it and froth it, put it in that way, or you can put it in the float coat last step. So fill the bucket with water, put a dollop of that Thick and Thicker into the water, and douse the coat with a cup and do it that way. There's many different ways of using that product, but a conditioner, no. For dog grooming, yes. For cat grooming, if it's a long hair full coat, I'm going to use that Thick and Thicker Protein Treatment, right? So, anywho, here we go. I'm going to call the owner because she's 30 minutes away. And we have it on video how her demon child did the rebel without a cause. The other one, Pancake. This is Angel. Pancake was like, hell no. Hell to the no. So we're going to have her reschedule and come back. And we're going to make sure she's on some kind of a pre-treatment. Usually the GABA is what vets use, which will block all of that demon child rebel without a cause behavior that she's exhibiting right now, and allow her to be like her sister Angel. Angel is like that naturally. I'm assuming that's their names, or that could be Pancake and that's Angel. But if you give GABA to Pancake, it'll allow Pancake to be the way Angel is naturally, right? But the point is, the goal is that every cat is groomed at low stress levels, right? No matter what their temperament. If they're at natural temperament, great. If they're not, it can be tweaked. Bottom line is every cat can be groomed at low stress levels, right? Something the pet industry still hasn't copped onto yet, nor do they even believe it's possible. So hence why we actually show it live and catalog it. It's the whole point of going live on YouTube right now, is to literally show the pet industry that yes, it is possible. And we've been doing it for 8 years now. 8 years, people. 8 years. 8. You hear me? 8. 8. Did you hear me? 8 years. Sorry. Alright, what's left? Oh, we're going to spray them with Feline. We give the cat clients Feline as they're coming and as they're going, right? Alrighty then. Call the owner. We're going to have her come back, and we're going to do a take 2 with Pancake. Alright? I was trained as a get her done cat groomer, right? I would never be sending any cat home if they weren't groomed, right? That cat, every cat was getting groomed, right? But through the years, I have evolved, right? Like I said, I'm a hybrid. 1/3 of me is NCGI, 1/3 of me is Fear-Free Pets, and 1/3 of me is everything that I've learned from studying about 20 cat grooming masters, right? Most of them are outside this country. So, and we're gonna have the owner come back when Pancake is having her little demon issues blocked, because that's what the gabapentin does. People refer to it as a sedative I'm having a hard time getting any vet to say out loud what's actually happening. My own vet can't even explain how the gabapentin works, right? Other vets are saying it's a mild sedative. It's not a sedative class medication, people. It is a anti-seizure class medication, and what's actually happening is it is literally blocking the fight or flight signal. It is a signal. The only thing I don't know is it blocking the signal from being sent or being received? It's one or the other, right? Through the GABA receptor in the brain, hence why it's called gabapentin. And when you use it at its therapeutic dose and use it for the correct pre-treatment for panic or aggression, because it's two different treatments, right? You get what? You get a block. And you get a cat-like angel. That's how GABA works, people. Right? When you use it correctly. So, we just called the owners. We're going to do the final fluff and comb out and send her on her merry way. Now this cat, the owner thought was going to have to be put in a lion cut. That coat was so easy to save, it was ridiculous, right? The other cat, I can probably save too, because they're sisters. So the way that coat just came off like I was just picking a flower is probably how it's going to work with her sister's coat, right? But the sister wants nothing to do with it. She's gone hell to the no. So she's going to need to be tweaked. And then we'll, because we don't want to, at her age, she's what, 8 months old? We don't want to force plow her grooming. We don't want to, you know what I mean? We're not going to roll over her and get her done cat grooming. We're not doing that with her. She's 8 months old, right? We're not doing it. It's nice and warm. Let's get her out. And here we go. How'd you go? She's like, I like it. I like it. I like it. This is your more typical Petco bed, which they usually sell in a bin for 10. Well, no, not this one. This is the fancier one. This has got a well in it, but it's round with the bumper. So it's another kind of a bumper bed, but a lot more expensive at Petco. That's like 30 bucks, right? But when you incorporate these beds, you can use them like Lazy Susans, right? So the cat's position is staying the same, but the cat is moving, right? You're not touching the cat, right? So Lazy Susies are great when it comes to cat grooming. I've been watching one of the cat groomers that I study has little round Lazy Susie grooming tables, and he moves around the table. I love it. Cat never moves, he moves, right? The cat isn't touched, he moves to adjust the grooming, right? All right, so that's an extra small happy hoodie with a large folded back. So you got triple protection with 2 happy hoodies, right? We're going to show you the baby step. Trying to get to a velocity dryer, a cat could wig out. So you start with the baby step first, which is the low do-it-yourself dryer. Get used to that. That's going to take about a minute or 2. Once you see that there's no reaction, you could even try turning it up and then introduce something more powerful, right? No, you're hurting me. Bye. You're hurting my ears. How's that? sneaky, but it works. All you're doing is outsmarting the cat. Two skulls. How you doing? Nope. Yep. Works almost every time. If you could feel what I feel, oh my God, her coat is just divine. She's just glorious. Her mom's not even gonna believe it. Obviously, this takes a lot longer than a variable speed dryer, right? But she's a kitten, people. Any cat that's under a year old, this is as strong as I go, right? This tool is also a great way to look and find where the problems are in the coat. I thought she was free and clear, right? See it? So it helps you to see what's happening. It is an open-ended question because there are cat owners who groom their cat in between their baths, and then there's those who don't touch their cat and they just drop them off for the grooming, but there's no maintenance in between each grooming. So for a cat like her, and the owner's not even doing anything at home, it could be, you'd be shocked, it could be as soon as every 4 weeks, every 6 weeks, right? Every 8 weeks. But if you are doing maintenance at home, or if you are requesting the natural, which is the scoop out the whole undercarriage, shave out the armpits, shave out the belly, shave out the groin area, you can even extend that grooming even longer. And then learn how to do the 1-minute fire drill. So you get yourself the comb that's going to work for your cat's coat for maintenance grooming, right? And then you learn how to do a 1-minute fire drill. If you learn how to do a 1-minute fire drill, you will never have to worry about your cat getting into trouble the way Angel did, covered in mats and pelts, right? By learning how to run a comb through your cat's entire coat in 1 minute. You want it quick, done, boom. And then what you want to do is associate a high reward treat with that 1-minute fire drill. So every time she has that done, she knows she's getting that high reward churu or the shrimp or whatever, right? And then I usually tell people, be careful what grooming spray you're going to use, if you are even going to use one. Pink Paw Paw is great. All of that information, the link is in the mainline.live. You can even get Avion spray, mist, it's just water, but it'll help with like the static. If you have rugs in your house, things like that, right? So find what is the comb for your cat's maintenance grooming. Learn how to use it for a 1-minute fire drill. And at the very end of her grooming, I'm going to show you what that looks like, right? Why did I do that? All right, because we still got to turn her over on her belly. Because we still haven't hit her whole undercarriage yet, right? Nope. Nope, 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 nope. Okay. Now, let's try and, she's so comfy. She's like, no, I don't want to move, I don't want to. All right, yeah, perfect. All right, here we go. Oh, cool. My Himalayan, I would wash and blow out every, I don't know, every 8 weeks. He was a floor model for my salon. So I would keep him in full coat so that I could show people what a full coated cat would look like if you were to give them regular shampoo and blowout. So I used to do him every 8 weeks for the first 10 years of his life. So in case you didn't know, you can use that do-it-yourself stand dryer for the ooh as well. Sorry. Sorry. She's like, it's alright. I got it. I'm alright. Just about there. Go back to this, the light, low contour to do her head. Actually, sometimes when you take this all off, and then they hear the actual sound for the first time, it could cause them to pop and get startled. So that's why I always take the happy hoodies off one at a time, if I keep the dryer on. There. Better. Well, aren't you just the perfect little bathing beauty, right? Yeah. God, she was amazing. She had hundreds of little knots and tufts as well as big ones. We're going to use this face comb to work all around that arm area. That'll grab all of those little small knots that are in her legs and her head and her cheeks, right? That's usually what you use this for, is the head and the cheeks. There you have it, folks. I'm going to give you a 360 view of her in just a minute. Her coat is damaged, but it's not permanent. It will restore itself. If you keep a slicker brush off of your long hair coat, you won't damage it so much. When you're doing maintenance grooming, try and stick with a comb instead. Over time, it's just going to shred your cat's coat. You don't believe me? Well, I wish I had pictures I could show you. And what I'm thinking about is these two cats who are brother and sister. One owner groomed her cat with a comb, the other one would use the slicker brush. Both from the same breeder, same cat, everything right. But the owner who used the slicker brush on the daily destroyed the coat, shredded it. You may not see it, but a trained professional will see it. It's no big deal. If your cat likes it, fine. You're not showing your cat, don't worry about it. But if you care, and you want to and you want to make the coat for your cat the best that it can possibly be, put the slicker brush down. There are some on the market that have little tiny tips on them. Little Pals makes one. Little tiny tips. That's fine. Choose that. And it's kind of on the longer side. Like I said before, these little Pal tools, there's about 8 of them, are just adorable. And every one of them, just about every one of them is extremely effective. When I first saw them at a pet store, I thought it was a joke. I'm like, who the hell is gonna, it's like for a little doll, right? And I'm like, I'll get them, right? It turned out to be one of my favorite grooming tools. Yeah. I didn't know. Alright. Let's go back and do her dome. This is actually standard, folks. If you don't believe me, contact, oh, I don't know, the NCGI or your local cat club or whatever, right? Last step, little tips, and she all there. She all there. She all there. Tip the ears. Yep. Indeed. You know, the owner wanted armpit shaves. I only shaved one of them. Let's find out which one still needs to be done. Is it that one? That one? That one? That one? It's this one. It's that side. It's that side. There we go. That was the only thing she requested. Was that the armpits be shaved out? Here's the thing, folks. If there aren't any knots there, there's no point in doing that. You're only going to do that if it's a problem, right? If you know that your cat's... All right, let's get the 360. Let's get the 360. Lord have mercy. She's glorious. Her coat is just the colors and the pattern. It is damaged because she came in. Like, let me just try and show you. There's one. But it will repair itself. Yeah. And then in time, she will have the prettiest little 2 kitties ever. I'm pretty sure this one is Angel. And her sister is Miss Demon Child, right? Her sister most likely will need to be on gabapentin in order to be groomed at low stress levels. Not so that she can be groomed, but so that she can be groomed at low stress levels. Do you understand the difference? There's a lot of people, even in the pet industry, don't even understand that. They're like, oh God, she's really not a really good cat groomer, is she? Because she needs all of her clients drugged. This is what the pet industry did to me. She needs all of her clients drugged just so she can groom them. You fucking bitches. Yep. And they weren't all women, too. Now, that was the extent of their knowledge and their perception of what was happening. Right? That's not what's happening, folks. For 7 years, any cat that walked through that front door got groomed, whether it liked it or not, as taught and trained. Right? I was a good little soldier. 7 years in, by accident, one of my cat clients came in on gabapentin. The high panic one, because it's either going to be panic or aggression. I called the owner and I said, I need the paperwork. She said, what do you mean? I said, your new cat. I need the paperwork for your new cat. She's like, that's my cat. My original cat. And I'm like, no, it's not. She's like, yes, it is. I thought my client was trying to pull one over on me and bring in her neighbor's cat or something. It's not the same cat, because the cat that was on my table was not the cat that was in the grooming notes, right? So she said, "That's my cat." And then she said, "I brought my cat to a fear-free cat veterinarian. My veterinarian, fear-free veterinarian, told me to try this." And I'm like, "What?" "It's called gabapentin." I'm like, "What?" I'd never heard of it. She's like, "Yeah, it's called gabapentin." And I'm like, "Are you kidding me?" So 7 years in, I had to find out by accident that gabapentin had been available the entire time my salon was open. So the first 7 years of hell that I experienced, including being out of work for 2 months with a very severe cat bite, $35,000 in surgery, not sure whether my hand would ever be the same again, not sure if I would ever survive being 2 months out of work. I didn't have insurance to cover it, right? And when I got out of that hospital, I was angry, right? Angry because of how vulnerable I had put myself in. You know, being a good soldier, doing everything I was told, only to be landing for 2 months out of work with bills to pay. "Oh, well, that's your fault because you didn't get all of the training you should have. You know, you didn't get your cert." "Oh, really? That's funny, because I have photos of other CFMGs who have their certs, who are in a hospital with the same exact damn thing that happened to them," right? So don't come at me with that, right? The only reason why I couldn't get it is my mind can't wrap its head around colors and patterns, right? My brain doesn't work that way. Will it ever? I don't know. I don't know. Ask me any question on the test, I can answer it. I have all the study material. Ask me what color coat pattern that is, I haven't a clue. My brain doesn't work that way, right? So, anyway, 7 years in, I discovered by accident gabapentin. I was shocked because I had never once heard of it, nor was it being taught, right? But it literally blocked the fight or flight signal on that cat, and that cat just looked up at me like I was its new best friend, had the best cat grooming, had the best groom, right? And at that moment on, I knew things had to change, right? So that was back in either 2016 or, yeah. So that happened in 2000, well, the bite happened in 2015. And then I think I discovered the GABA in 2016. And by 2017, I had become a quote-unquote fear-free cat grooming salon. I'm not exactly a purebred fear-free professional. I'm a hybrid because I was trained in get it done cat grooming, right? So I'm a mixture of both. I'm kind of like a hybrid of it. Okay? Oh yeah, well, other people knew about it, but the veterinarians knew about it, but nobody, I think, in the grooming industry knew about it yet. Or it wasn't being taught. I had never heard of it before, right? I'm sure there's some people who knew about it, but it's not anything that was being taught. And at the time, I was a member of 2 cat grooming organizations. I'd never heard of it, ever. Okay. So the way the GABA plays into a cat grooming salon so that you can allow all of your clients to be groomed at low stress levels is you're only 25% of, like 1 out of every 4. 1 out of every 4 cat clients, I would say, is a special needs cat client, right? They're going to need help to be able to get them groomed at low stress levels because the techniques alone are not doing it. So now I'm asking the owner on their end to do something, and then we'll both meet in the middle. I'll come with my techniques, you come with your pre-treatment, we're going to meet in the middle, and we're going to get that cat groomed at low stress levels. So that's currently what's happening. 1 out of every 4 cat clients. So we're only talking about 25% of my client base, right? It's no big deal. 75% are groomed at natural temperament through techniques only, right? If you were to take a cat, those are my numbers for my salon. But if you were to take cats to another salon where the groomer was not a trained cat groomer, I can guarantee you 50% of those cats would be required to be on GABA or some kind of pre-treatment, because the groomer has no training and has no techniques, right? So my numbers are 1 out of 4. But a standard dog grooming salon that advertises cat grooming, your numbers are probably going to be more like 1 out of every other cat client that comes into your salon is going to need to be pre-treated in order for that cat to be groomed at low stress levels. Not to be groomed, but to be groomed at low stress levels. Can we understand the difference, people? Anyway, I gotta go. I'm babbling. Thank you so much, Cheese Skulls, for all your love and support. We'll be back tomorrow for Cat-A-Day, right? Cat-A-Day is always the best. Cat-A-Day is usually filled with a lot of my regular clients. Let me just double check what's happening with that. Let's see. No, we got, wow, we've got 3 new clients coming tomorrow. So the whole second half of the day will be all new clients. The whole first half of the day will be regular clients, right? So it's always a box of chocolate when it comes to what's going to happen with the cat and what's going to happen with a new cat client, right? But the bottom line is, no matter what happens, eventually, whether it be on the first, second, or third visit, usually only takes 3 at the most. I mean, we're going to fully groom that cat each time, but usually sometimes it'll take the 3rd grooming for that cat to be at where we want them to be, which is levels 1 and 2, right? Perfect pensive. So on a stress scale of 1 to 6, our goal is every cat be groomed from 1 and stay between levels 1 and 2, right? And it is possible, and it's something we are showing and demonstrating live. For all of you people in the pet industry who want to put your hands over your eyes, ears, and mouth and pretend it's not happening, you go right ahead. But the public is watching. And the more the public learns and the more they understand, the more they're going to realize what's possible. And the more they're going to realize that, hey, I might even be able to do this myself. Go take a look at your nearest cat show, people. You think anyone in that cat show is a groomer? Maybe you might find 1 or 2, right? They're not groomers. They're pet parents. They're all pet parents, just like you, who learned how to groom their cat to show quality standards. They did it themselves. They learned how themselves. They didn't go to school for it. They didn't train for it. They joined a cat club and just learned and had fun with it, right? Yeah, it was that easy, that simple. Anyway, I gotta go, I'm babbling. We'll see you next time. Talk to you tomorrow, guys. Saturday, hopefully will be a good day. Not sure what to expect with these new clients for the latter half of the day, but c'est la vie. I can certainly check and see what the service request is going to be. Let's see. Okay, that's a problem. Okay, so one of them is just your standard line cut with a full tail. The other one is a 2 cats from the same household. The owners have not told me yet what their service request is. I am not going to check in a client and stand there for 30 minutes while an owner decides what they want and don't want. That's not happening, people, right? So I will be in touch with the owner to just go over the phone and ask them if they went over the hairstyle, what did they think they liked, what would they like, so that by the time my clients show up, because they're new clients, I want to have a clear idea of what it is that they want. Otherwise, because this has happened to me in the past, you could be standing there for literally a half an hour before that client decides what they want. And I'm sorry, please, please don't waste my time, right? Please don't waste my time. Just, I'll help you to look for what you want, right? But for standard policies, for making for a smoother running salon, you definitely want to know ahead of time what that customer wants, right? You need to get them to do the homework that they need to do, which is to do what? Push a button that takes them to a website that takes them to where they'll see pictures. And then all they got to do is point. Yeah, I like that. And then there'll be a name for that haircut, or there'll be a name for that style. Or maybe they don't want a haircut and they just want a shampoo package. That wasn't a haircut. That was restoring a fully matted, partially pelted cat, right? All right. Anyway, we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.